Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Robbie Rhino, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the NM-116 or the NM-116 depending on how you want to say it. And this tank is an Era 1 Western Alliance tank destroyer in the Cold War game mode. It is the free reward for reaching level 100 in the Kinetic Fury season, which is currently going on, so I highly recommend you get on this and try and get this tank. Free tanks are always nice, and this is a very nice one. First off, I'm going to be showing you a couple games that I've had, a couple decent games that I've had in this tank, and then the last replay is an absolutely epic replay sent in by a community member and a fellow pleb member, Time Splitter, who has a YouTube channel which I will be linking in the description, so please go and subscribe there. He has commentary on his videos, and yeah, judging by the result of the replay he sent in, he's a very decent player. So the NM-116, originally I thought this was a light tank when I played my first game in it, just because of the looks and the sort of mobility, and then I looked up to the top and I realised, oh, it's a little triangle. So yeah, it's a tank destroyer. That shows how much attention I pay sometimes when all the new tanks come out at the start of a season. I'll run down the statistics and then we'll talk about the gameplay as per usual. So it has a 55% silver bonus, 20% XP bonus and 10% crew XP bonus, which is always nice. Not bad hit points at 1900 in Era 1. 495 base view range, 400 horsepower engine, which is quite small, but it is a fairly light tank. It goes 61.2 kilometers forwards, 17.7 kilometers backwards, and has a power to weight ratio of 21.5. So it is very mobile, which is kind of why I thought it was a light tank. And you'll see in the gameplay that you can kind of play it like a light tank, quite an aggressive tank destroyer. You can sort of it's a bit of an all-rounder, put it that way. Apart from bouncing shots, you definitely can't do that. The gun it has is a 19mm gun with 280 alpha damage on its APF SDS rounds and its heat rounds. It also has HE rounds that deal 370 alpha damage. The penetration on the APF SDS is 262, which is, you know, it's fairly decent for Era 1. Heat penetration of 320, which is very nice. And the HE is a measly 45, so I personally don't carry any, and we'll have to see what Time Splitter carries a little later on. As a 7-second base reload, which for 280, I don't know, on paper it kind of felt fairly long, but obviously with commander builds and equipment you can get that down to a reasonable length reload. It has a 1.9 second base aim time, a 0.33 base accuracy, 10 degrees of gun depression, so very flexible on ridge lines, 15 degrees of gun elevation, which is very you know, it's very workable, and it carries 61 rounds of ammunition, which you think would be enough to carry you through to the end of the game, but this tank can chew through these rounds very quickly. You can get your reload down to about 5 seconds, so you do have to be careful, you know. And we'll find out in the last replay that Time Splitter has sent in that sometimes you might run out or get near to running out of your ammunition. Equipment wise, me and Time Splitter run the same: advanced optics, advanced concealment and advanced loader, for obvious reasons. You know, better reload speed, better view range, better concealment. As a tank destroyer, you want to be able to outspot your opponents, and you want to be able to stay hidden. You know, even with the true vision, you can use the foliage, as I've explained in previous videos. Use the foliage, that kind of thing, to your advantage to stay hidden, and use your concealment to your advantage. Commander skills. Again, Time Splitter and me do share very similar commander skills. Actually, we have 7 of the same and I have 2 different. So Sixth Sense, Born Leader, Rapid Loading, Steady Aim, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise and Muffled Shot is what me and Time Splitter share. And I also have Snapshot and Green Thumb added, because I have a 9-skill commander fortunately on my tank, but he still outplays me, so there we are, just proving that I'm an absolute scrub. those sort of skills and equipment, you can see you're just trying to push up those numbers in terms of the view range, trying to get your concealment down as much as possible, trying to get, you know, your DPM as high as possible. Very, very standard kind of tank destroyer setup. A very sort of all-round kind of setup for a tank destroyer, medium tank, light tank, that kind of thing. So with all of my equipment and commander skills loaded, I have a 605 meters view range now, a still concealment of 181 meters. A 5-second reload, 1.8 second aim time, which is phenomenal, and a 0.29 accuracy, so it is like a bit of a laser pointer. And the shell velocity, I believe, on the AP FSDS rounds is like 1,200 on the on the standard rounds. On the heat rounds, it is a bit slower, about 700. So you have to be wary of that when you're leading your targets at long range. So yeah, this first game we are on Desval, as you can see. Not particularly my favourite map, but this is a position you see me take up in quite a few of my replays. It's a very powerful position. You have to be wary of it being contested early on in the game, just because it is a very powerful position with sort of lookout points to all four corners of the map. We've managed to out-trade a tank in the middle and win the middle for our team, and now we're going to be able to use our gun and our DPM and our concealment now to our advantage. We've picked up 3.7k of our own direct damage and 71 assistance points. You know, every little helps and all that. So now we're just going to be using this this sort of wall to sort of peek over. We are down by 3 tanks. I'm just going to be peeking over trying to get shots in, but I can't aim and I miss. So I resort to a quick little cheeky auto in there, and you know, it goes in because 6.0 to water tanks, all that kind of good stuff. I noticed my medium tank over here is in a bit of trouble. He takes out the T-44A, so I'm going to go over and try and assist with the SU-122-54. That is a turretless TD, so with my mobility I can get round the TD, and if I track the TD I should be able to keep him in place and take out and tank and try and take down this game with our team. So I'll try and get out of the way of the friendly retreating. Try and get a shot into the SU-122-54 there. I'm just going to go around to the side here and try and make him turn, so that if he turns for me, my medium tank will get shots into that TD. As you can see there, but he is going straight for that medium tank because he knows he can finish him off. So I'm going to try and get a quick shot in, but I didn't realise you couldn't get a shot in there. But the medium tank plays very well and finishes off that SU-122-54. And now it's me and this medium tank versus 4 medium tanks on the enemy team. I only have 486 hit points left, so I'm not feeling overly confident, but I feel like if I can get into a position to stay hidden and keep the enemies guessing, then I'll be okay. But unfortunately, as I'm retreating, not retweeting, this Object 165 comes around and gets a shot into my rear, and I can't really escape now. And I'm just going to come down here, hope my medium tank escapes, and if this medium pushes, I should get shots into his side. But now the other 3 enemy tanks on their team are going to know where we are, and unfortunately for me, I think this is going to be nearly the end of my game, but we're just going to see what happens. I'm kind of hoping this 165 is forgotten about me and pushes round, gets a shot on the move, but I'm going to try and take things into my own hands, use the great gun depression here to use the ridgeline to get a shot in, put one shot in. I'm hoping the medium tank has a shot. He misses, unfortunately, and that means that unfortunately I do get finished off by the Object 165. I think if that medium tank, who, it's not his fault, it's just one of these things, he missed a shot, we would have been able to take out that tank and maybe take out the game. But the M48 P5, whatever it's called, medium tank gets finished off. Unfortunately, we fall to a defeat, but we still have a fairly decent game, picking up 5k damage. Yeah, we finish second on our team, make 178,000 silver, which is very nice, pick up 3 kills, and we'll shoot off into the second game, and I'll talk you through that one, so see you there in a second. So we're now in the second replay of the video, and we are on Heilbronn. This is one of the recently revamped maps. It's a very open map, and a map where a tank like this can shine. This tank is very powerful, I found, in this era. It absolutely sort of shreds things like sort of T-44A and things like that. You do have to be wary of some of the medium tanks, and especially the Object 268, which is kind of an absolute beast in Era 1. But yeah, it's very fun, and I think the more tanks the better in this era, and obviously in Cold War in general. The more sort of variety we get, the more it's going to become like World War II for sort of variety. But yeah, we're going to poke up to this ridge, which I like to come to in F4. This is a great sort of place to poke up and spot beginning of the battle. You find people in the north going into the town. A lot of the TDs like to camp in where there's that light tank and that medium tank in B6, and you also in A, B, 7 and 8 where the TD hill is, you can also sort of push forward and spot there. So this is a very powerful position, and as you can see, our camo is holding up. Obviously they can see us with true vision, but because we're dipping in and out they might not be able to. We're seeing some shell tracers go off up there. We're trying to see where they are. I play on a 55-inch 4K TV, so you'd think I'd be able to see the tanks, but my vision isn't absolutely perfect, so I can completely understand how some people in the War Tanks community that do have actual vision sort of problems can find it difficult. But I'm glad that they've sorted out largely the colorblind sort of problem that they had with the colorblind modes when 6.0 first came out. So we picked up 496 damage, make that 737 damage, sorry, and we're going to go to town on this M47. I think he just fired where my shell tracer was because he didn't be able to see me, and that's what I'm talking about when I say use the foliage, because you can see the shell tracers but you cannot always see where the tank is, and if you're bobbing and weaving, going side to side, it's going to be hard for the enemies to hit you. And this is just sort of kind of like a medium tank, light tank kind of hybrid gameplay with this tank destroyer. It's very mobile, got a great gun, enough hit points, good view range, great camo. It can do it all. And there's that TD camp in there. We get 2 into him, and I believe he may just sit there, and we're going to look for where he was there. Yep, he's still there on that hill, as you can see. I just spot there, and we get a critical damage, and we must have hit his tracks. And now he is retreating back over that rock. I think he's got shot enough to realise that, oh, hang on, you know, I'm actually I'm actually still spotted. This is Cold War, this is True Vision, this isn't World War II. And that's a mistake I made when I started playing Cold War, sitting in a position for too long. So yeah, definitely don't do that. But let me go back again. I highly recommend not going to the exact same position, especially if you were getting repeatedly shot. We get a shot into the SU, set him on fire, which the fire has put out. But we've got our damage total up nicely to 2.9k direct damage, 1000 assistance. And these are the kind of games that you can have in this tank. And of course, in Cold War, it's kind of like a silver printing sort of playground, basically. And yeah, I found it quite exciting. Still absolutely love World War II, just because I played it for so long and I've kind of grown attached to the tanks, which is kind of a weird thing to say when you think about you getting attached to pixels in a game, but you know. See that these TDs have come behind us. We're gonna just drop back a ridge, turn around, and that's the good thing about this position, is that you're covered now. For where I am, you're covered from behind, unless the light tank pushes over like he is doing now and comes and tries to take me out. So we're going to go toe to toe with this the M1 and A1, the Walker Bulldog, and because of our great DPM, that's something that you can do. Obviously they're little pests running around at Era 1, but you can go toe to toe and win your battles against the light tanks. Like I said, be careful of tanks like the one in front of me, the Object 268. That was an unfortunate bounce there on the light tank. But this TD, this SU-12254 is running away. Unlucky for him, he hasn't got a turret, so we get a couple in before he's able to turn and react. So yeah, definitely make advantage of that. Going to shoot through this gap and hope that the Object 268 doesn't snap a shot into us. And now we're going to try and get shots into this SU. We sort of poke round, being very cheeky. The penetration is good enough to go through the SU there. Walker Bulldog makes a mistake running into the rock, but we make a mistake backing up too far. And going to try and get out of the way of this SU. Auto aim and bounce. He hasn't got a turret though, so we're going to get one more in, I hope. There we go, one more in. I was thinking about going over the rock, but I was scared the SU was going to come and black me, so we eat a shot. We have the hit points. Don't be afraid to eat a shot now and again. And yeah, we finish off that SU 12254, and I'm using the third person there, using the camera, going to go up to see where that light tank was coming from. And now we were just going to go toe to toe. Basically, we were going to try and go, but I'll go for the tracks to try and block this 268 as he comes over. Try and lock him in place. I was kind of caught between a rock and a hard place there. I felt like I couldn't really deal with that situation because it was so fast paced. I tried to lock the Object 268 in place, but I was on so low hit points at the time that Bulldog, unless he fluffed every shot, was going to kill me. But we still managed in that engagement to rack up a nice decent amount of damage. And that sort of acted as a distraction as our friendly in the north proceeded to shoot the tanks in the middle that came after me, and now it is five of us versus 2 of them. And yeah, I'm hoping this is just going to be a nice easy win. I think I'll probably just skip to the end, yeah, and we'll jump into the replay that Timesplitter has sent in, which is an absolute epic game, and the best game that I've seen in the NM-116 so far. So I'll see you in the end credits for this video, and then we'll hop into the third one. So that's the end of the second replay. We finish MVP, finishing with 5,530 direct damage, 1,039 assisted damage, 1,444 base XP, 2 kills. Yeah, and a very, very good game. And as you can see, we make a lot of silver. I think I'm running sort of 1.5 or 2 times silver boosts, which are fantastic in Cold War. And we're going to jump now into the showcase of this replay, which is Timesplitter's replay, which is absolutely fantastic and shows how to play this to get the best out of this tank. So I'll see you there in a bit. So here we are then, the third and final replay, and this is the replay that Timesplitter kindly sent in for me. Timesplitter here is playing the NM-116 on Westfield, which is one of the best maps in the game for a tank like this, with fantastic view range, fantastic concealment, great mobility, a great gun, and Timesplitter looks like he is going to where I would go with this tank. Underneath the bridge here from this spawn. Gonna go and cross the spot the cross in the south. As you can see, Timesplitter, instead of using the medkit, uses the smoke consumable, which is something that I've actually never used, so I might try that, as long as the as well as the other one where it increases your health, or restores your health, should I say. But here we are. This is great. Timesplitter is using the foliage, using the view range and the concealment to absolutely decimate these tanks that are crossing up to the south of the map, up to the hill up there. I think Timesplitter there knocked down the tree, just trying to add some more foliage, but someone did notice and got a shot into Timesplitter. However, he's not getting shot at, so Timesplitter is going to use this opportunity to get as much damage into this M46A1 as possible. And as you can see there, picking up 1,780 damage and 126 assistance damage in the first couple minutes of this replay. And this T-44A has absolutely no idea where he's getting shot from. He's chosen an absolutely horrific place to cross. Do not do that. I would only recommend crossing the south there if you're in the opposition spawns, if you're in a mobile tank, and try and hug the edge of the map so, you know, tanks like the NM-116 can't spot you and all the light tanks. And just like that, 2.2k direct damage, 1,000 assistance, and this game is going to get absolutely insane. And Timesplitter is going to have one of the best games I've seen in Cold War for quite some time. So there's the enemy NM-116. Timesplitter is holding his shell, I think hoping that his friendlies in E9, E0 are going to get shots down into the NM-116. Unfortunately they don't. Time Splitter fires, decides just to fire. It's going to chase down this NM-116, keep the NM-116 lit, and hoping that the friendlies actually get some fire into the tank. This is something that you can do with the mobility of this tank. As you can see, going uphill on Westfield and some maps, it is a little bit sluggish because it only has a 400 horsepower engine. The horsepower per turn might be good, but it is a little bit sluggish to get going, and up hills it does struggle. The traverse speed on the hull is 40 degrees a second, and the turret is 36 degrees a second, I believe, so it is fairly good at manoeuvring in and out when it gets up to speed. But this, the enemy TD is coming around for round 2. Time Splitter is doing the correct thing here. He's not just auto-aiming, he is free aiming as well. And he's going to chase down this tank destroyer and get this tank destroyer out of the game, because this tank destroyer is lighting up all of Time Splitter's friendlies. The tank destroyer uses the smoke, but that was a little bit of a last gasp here. I'm actually surprised at how many of Time Splitter's teammates are whipping their shots, but Time Splitter gets a nice shot into the rear of the NM-116, sets him on fire, and then gets a consecutive shelling to finish him off. And that tank destroyer is out of the way, and that's what crew skills can do. And 6.0 there on the move, just firing, and basically Time Splitter is going to go back up to this position, and I believe rinse and repeat. Now up to 3.8k direct damage and 1000 assistance damage. There's a M4A1A1 on the enemy team there, which is a one-shot. He's kind of doing a bit of Neo Matrix kind of style there, dodging, but Time Splitter takes his time and finishes off the light tank. Cap goes off. There's a light tank, I think it's a Chaffee, yep, M24, running around. Time Splitter's aiming his shots and being a little bit unlucky there. Maybe could have led ever so slightly more, but I'm not going to comment on anyone shooting too much because I'm not the best myself. And as Time Splitter is going to prove, he definitely knows how to play this tank. And just to say again, Time Splitter does have a YouTube channel. I've linked it in my description for this video. Please go and check his channel out. There's commentary on there as well, which is fantastic. And we should all be supporting each other as much as possible. This is where the 15 degrees of gun depression does get slightly annoying when you're going up hills like this, but there aren't too many maps like Westfield where there are extreme slopes like this. I think Time Splitter now is seeing that the enemy team are pushing around the north, going towards the cap circle. Gets a lovely shot there into the M46A1, sets him on fire and finish him off. And this is a great position to defend the cap from. And there's that M48A5 P1, PI, I think it's P1. Very, very powerful tank. Probably like the second or third most effective tank in this era, I would say. And that's a tank I'm grinding through at the moment, and I will put up on the channel as and when. Getting shots into the C44A. The T44A looked like he was looking at Time Splitter, but he wasn't. He was shooting, and the medium tank that was below Time Splitter. Time Splitter gets unlucky again with another shell. He's got unlucky with a few of these shells. And I think, unfortunately, it is the heat shells that there's a few heat shells being fired there that have the slower shell velocity. That meant that they just sort of missed the target. That M1A1, M41A1, I should say, comes up. Time Splitter again gets, slightly unlucky trying to finish off that tank, but it's now 1 versus 6. Time Splitter uses the smoke consumable, which great move. Saw that tank come in using the third-person camera, gets a snapshot into the M46A1, and he is going to reload before that M46A1 manages to do so. And now he is just running for his life, basically using the ridge lines and the dead wreck to try and escape. Gets a lovely snapshot there into the M41A1. Now it's 1 versus 4. You can't get medals in Cold War, but obviously in World War II, if it was this scenario, then Time Splitter would be on for the Kolobanov's medal. So let's see if he gets Cold War Kolobanovs. Getting some shells now into the M46, M45A1, I think. I just butchered that name. I think it's the M45A5. Time Splitter, I think, decides now they're all going to be coming after him, so he's going to enhance his combat rations, get the view range, and try and retreat as quickly as possible. T-44A just pokes up there, and in a moment like this, it's just about getting or trying to get as much distance as possible. The further you get away, the more chance you've got of using your concealment and view range to outspot your opponents, and the less likely they are to actually hit you when they are firing at you. This is a very difficult situation for Time Splitter, and unfortunately there he gets tracked, so expect him to lose a fair few hit points here. Fortunately, I think he just takes the correct damage there, and he's weaving in and out of these buildings, hoping that the enemy tanks miss him and trying to get unspotted. Of course, he is spotted with the true vision, but maybe they haven't got great view range and they are struggling. One tank just noticed him. Another unlucky shot there into the side of that T-44A. See, this is so unlucky. A few of these sort of shells, if they hit, this outcome could have been even better. It could have been an even better game. But this is where it's difficult going uphill, just trying to get up the hill. If he gets up the hill, he'll be able to outrun these tanks very easily and relocate and try and surprise them, getting some shells as he retreats. Obviously keep firing when you're able to, and it was at this point when I first watched this replay that I noticed the shell count. Yeah, I said at the start of this video you'd think that was enough enough ammunition to carry you through most games, and it is for most games, but this is an exceptional game in this tank. Up to 6.5k direct damage, 1.2k assistance damage, only got 702 hit points left, but that's sort of 2-shot, maybe a 3 or 4 shot for light tanks in this area, but there's only 4 mediums left. And I think now Time Splitter is just gonna try and relocate to different positions, try and keep the enemy guessing. That's all you can do in a scenario like this. Keep moving, don't sit still, try and keep track of where you think the enemies are. And I think now Time Splitter has noticed this medium tank over here is like a sort of 2 or 3 shot. Going to sneak up behind and try and finish him off, and then get into cover, and then sort of rinse and repeat on the last 3 enemy tanks, because I think this is like a moment when you realise, like an epic game, or an absolutely epic game is on now. This has been a great game, but it could be so much better, and you think that you're going to have sort of the game of the life, so that the hands get a bit sweaty, the heart goes, and it is very hard to make the right decisions. And in hindsight, watching replays, also you can see what you should have done. I've had many near misses with like epic games, but yeah, Time Splitter plays this exceptionally well, and I can't really fault anything that he's done. So that M47 is pushed down now into the cap, but Time Splitter manages to spot or outspot the M47. Unfortunately, firing the heat didn't go through the hard cover there. That is something to be aware of. Maybe ammunition choice could have been slightly different, but like I said, I'm not gonna criticise anyone that sends community replays in, because we all make ever so slight mistakes even in epic games, and sometimes it is just about luck. But there you see that 750 meters a second roughly shell velocity, which is very awkward. And I think Time Splitter, I don't know, I haven't asked him, but in my mind I would try and save the APCR rounds for the end, because I feel like they're more reliable, even though the heat's got better penetration, the APCR goes through buildings, all that kind of jazz. Gets another shot to reset the cap, trying to get shots at as many different tanks as possible, just to lower them so they're 1 and 2 shots. Unfortunate ricochet there again. That tank has got great turret armor, the M48 A5 P1. Another shot there, and they're all going towards the cap, and this is going to be very tricky for Time Splitter to manage. Gets a lovely shot into the top of the M47's hull there, and now the M47 is on a 1-shot. He's getting shot from the rear, shot from the side, shot from behind, and he's just going to try and escape and try and get this M47 out of the game from behind him, so he only has to focus on one direction, which is exactly the right play. And as you can see, kind of swiveling backwards and forwards, trying to sort of think what is the correct way to play this game. Unfortunately, the 1-shot tank just goes behind the building, gets a lovely shot into the T-44A, and now they have both 1-shots. but he only has 1 APCR round and 4 HE rounds left. There's 24 seconds left on the cap and only 2.5 minutes left on the game. So what's going to happen, he pushes down, gets a lovely shot into the T-44A. Enemy tanks probably should have gone around that little, was it a castle or a building in the middle there, around the other side, trying to finish off this M47, but this HE, very low penetration, the splash damage isn't going to be very high because it's only a 90mm gun. 3 rounds left, and if he can just get one more tank out of the game, maybe he can ram a tank to death at the end or something, who knows. When I was watching this, I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen, but as you can see in the top right hand corner, 9.2k direct damage and 1.2k assistance damage, so this is already an absolutely epic game, and it would be a heartbreak if Time Splitter wasn't able to take this one down. Only 22 damage on the HE and only 2 shells left. There's a wall there, so if it misses and again only like 20 damage, 37 damage. Going to have to try and aim for a weak spot here if he wants to take out the M47 with the HE or get to the rear, but as you can see, Time Splitter is only on 265 hit points, so it's going to be so difficult now to take this one down, but we're going to see if he can do it. I'm not quite sure what I would do in the situation. I would try and relocate and get behind them so they don't know where they're coming from. But as he's going up the hill, he sees a chance to take out the M47, gets the HE shell into the side of the M47, but unfortunately Time Splitter is now out of shells, and he's not going to be able to ram that heavy medium tank. He will die and he will lose the game regardless. You could argue now you might as well just go for their cap, but unfortunately there isn't enough time left on the clock. Only half a minute. Yeah, there's just no way that Time Splitter can win this game now. He could go and ram the M48A5P1, kill himself and get a slight more damage, but this is already a brilliant game, and kind of the heartbreak setting in now. Only 8 seconds left on this replay. Time Splitter's now just sat here, maybe getting a nice screenshot, but I think he can be proud of that result regardless of the defeat, unfortunately. Yeah, that Jerry Joe Commander's too happy at the end of that game, but he still finishes on the MVP screen in 3rd place on a loss. 8 kills, 9.2k direct damage, 1.2k assistance, makes 672,000 silver, which is insane, and that is the best game that I've seen in Cold War for quite some time. So thank you so much, Time Splitter, for sending that one in to me. That was so much fun to watch, and I'm really sorry about the heartbreak there. But that's it for this replay. As you can see, this tank is phenomenally powerful. It's got great view range, great camo. Play it sort of like a pseudo light medium tank destroyer, all-rounder, and you can't go wrong. It's free. Try and get your hands on it. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you all so much for the support. I look forward to putting out more content very, very soon. Hope you're all having a great week, and I hope you have a great weekend coming up. See you on the battlefield, and bye for now.